Well, we're here. The Middle East is imploding again. I'll be honest. I don't really remember a time in my 40 years on this earth that region was not some sort of dumpster fire, was at war, or at least in some sort of conflict, whether it be cultural or global, whatever. And America has always thrown themselves in the middle of it for some odd reason. Gulf War, Desert Storm, the last 20 years we had over there. But now I can't understand, for the life of me, we have a president that is telling another country not to solve a problem that will inevitably become our problem here on our shores or even become our war eventually. Israel's got this. They're not asking for any additional help. They're not even really asking for any major resources from us. That means that America's sons and daughters don't have to spend what, if history is correct, potentially another 2 decades in the Middle East, dying in that region for, another failed war campaign because we don't understand the basic dynamics of the region. We refuse to understand Iran's real intent. I realize that Joe Biden is thinking, well, I realize the people around him are thinking, but let's be honest. The bigger this conflict becomes and the more scrutiny that falls back on the Biden administration and their foreign policy or lack thereof, Iran has spent the last 50 years chanting death to America. Why would we waste our breath asking Israel to use any measure of restraint whatsoever? If you ask a bully nicely to stop punching you in the face, they're going to keep punching you in the face. But if you punch him back, he'll probably leave you alone. Again, these are supposed to be the adults in the room. At least that's what they told us. The White House wants a diplomatic response. They want Israel to show restraint. Diplomacy is what you do when you're negotiating. Not after someone chants death to your country for 5 decades, is developing a nuclear weapon that they say they will use, and launches drones and missiles on attack on our ally. We're past diplomacy, and another country's willing to do all the work for us. They want to destroy Iran. Sounds great. Look, I don't want war. I've been there. It's not a good thing. But the enemy gets a say on whether or not war happens. Iran keeps saying they're at war with us and Israel. Maybe we should believe them. Like, what's it going to take? And if someone else is going to do the dirty work for us, why would you not want to wipe Iran off the map at the hands of somebody else? I mean, if I was president, I'd be like, yeah, go ahead, Israel, do your thing. Iran can't go toe-to-toe with Israel. I mean, good riddance, Ayatollah. Then after that, we can just make sure that we add Lake America, where Iran used to be, to our new tourist locations. It'll be great. Brought to you by 0 American tax dollars, 0 American lives, which will likely, if the response is strong enough, probably bring peace to the Middle East for a while. You see, this is what Iran thought Trump was going to do, and that is why they didn't do dumb stuff while he was president. And if you're worried about escalating or whatever, you assume that you're dealing with rational thinking, which Iran is not. Sure, they said they're not they were like, oh, we're done, we're not going to do anything else, but they're not. Because if they were done, they would have used their most advanced weaponry for this, not a bunch of junky drones to test Israeli air defenses. If I was going to attack you again, would I want you to think that I'm not going to? Of course, this is like War 101. Here we are as a State Department, like, believing them. Also, the way Iran and all these other radical ideology and countries work is almost incomprehensible to the West. For some reason, we just refuse to acknowledge the way they actually think. I spent 2 years in Iraq doing counter-Iranian influence. First, Iran doesn't think Israel has the right to exist. They happen to feel the same way about America. And every time they see an opening, they attack. America happens to be, 5,000 miles away, which is why we are safer than Israel, but it's the same hatred. But factions of Iranian support are already here. Big-time Iranian influence in our own government. Our own government. We know for a fact, and I have reported on this before, Robert Malley, a senior appointee in the Obama administration and in the Biden administration, had helped an Iranian agent named Ariana Tabatabai. The now suspended Robert Malley, because he had some questionable things, this being one of them, he helped her get appointed to some of the most sensitive positions at the State Department and the Pentagon, where she's been serving as the chief of staff for the Assistant Secretary of Defense for Special Operations. We know this woman has met with Iranian officials in the past. Why? This came out years ago. She's still got her security clearance. I mean, don't tell me this isn't a problem here in America. Did her position, or Robert Malley, who you can see in that photo right there, they were integral parts of negotiating the original Iran nuclear deal. Did any of their influence affect letting the sanctions on Iranian missiles just lapse? I'm just asking. And if you're waiting, I guess, for Biden to come up with a solution to this, he's been clueless on Iran since the 80s on this.
I think there's a logical progression, and I think it will result in the release of the hostages, but I have no crystal ball. God only knows.
God only knows. I mean, he was there on the Senate Foreign Relations Committee for decades. Biden is trying to play both sides of this now politically, though. First, he has a very loud and very radical faction of the Democratic Party. We just played some of them before as they were protesting on bridges and blocking airports. They will vote for anyone else. They will vote for a potato before they vote for someone who gave even one dime to Israel. And he's got to deal with that. This is critical in battleground states like Minnesota and Michigan with huge Muslim populations. But on the other side, Israel is an ally, and even members of his own party in the Democratic Party are pushing him to back them up. So what does he do? I mean, this is all his doing, his own problem. I'm here for it. I'm cheering it on. But there's also a desperate attempt to tie this Israeli aid to Ukraine when they're not even remotely related or similar in any way. Much of the military aid we give to Israel is actually, in fact, purchased by them. I think we totally give them $4 billion. What do we give them, $130 billion to Ukraine? They also exchange intelligence and aid U.S. forces in the region. Israel makes America more capable. Ukraine doesn't do any of that. I mean, for God's sakes, the U.S. is funding labor unions and public sector payroll right now in Ukraine. We haven't gotten anything in return from them. It's not like it's keeping Russia at bay. Oh, Russia's not chanting death to America either. They're more of a soft enemy. They're certainly not about to strike the United States like Iran says it wants to. Iran has promised direct action against the U.S. if we intervene, but we already have. Our forces just helped shoot down some of those drones and missiles. So what now? Should we be on alert? I happen to think yes. Anyone who thinks Iran isn't a threat, I'd ask this. What's it going to take to help you understand that they actually are? And why are there so many people against another country taking out our enemy? Especially because it won't cost us anything.